D, wait for it, delightful.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So, I watched The Craft Legacy, and I'm going to tell you my thoughts about it right now. But before I get started, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is going to do their annual bot cleanse and old account purge, and there usually is a little bit of collateral damage, but I don't know why there is, but there is. Anyways, so I'm just going to ask that you please like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. So why don't we get started on this movie and my thoughts on it. So following such a cult classic film can be hard when taking such a beloved film and trying to further the story or even telling your story when you're going to be constantly in the shadow of the previous film can be difficult, especially when you have found like The Craft, which most people love. I mean, The Craft came out in 1996 and has been loved by so many. I, for one, absolutely love The Craft. I can't tell you how much I love this movie. I mean, I loved it so much. I mean, I don't believe in magic or like witches and I mean, like, there's witches, but I don't believe in magic and all that stuff. But I love the whole, supernatural aspect of it. I mean, it's fun and everything, and all four women from the original Craft movie, I was like in love with all of them. Like, I honestly thought I was gonna marry all of them one day, because they're just great. I mean, Neve Campbell was my favorite, but they're just so great. But yeah, I love that movie. I still love that movie. I could watch that movie all day, every day. And I usually watch it during Halloween time, which is like right now. Now, The Craft Legacy tries its hardest, in my opinion, to be as good as the first film, but it fails. It follows the storyline that's kind of like the first film in the sense that your main character has to relocate to a new house / school. She befriends the outsiders. She's bullied by the hot guy at school. She's the fourth and probably the most powerful witch in all of them, the whole coven, and so on and so on. There's just so many similarities to the original that I just wonder how much of this the writer / director really thought of herself. Now, in this one, the mom Helen moves in with her new husband, which is David Duchovny's character, which is different from the original film, but I mean, like, so what? And like I said before, she meets all these outcasts from her school, which are witches. And I have to say, the three girls playing these parts really don't stand out in my opinion. In fact, they're actually more like background characters with a couple of extra lines, like glorified extras. Not to say that they didn't do a good job or they did a bad job, but in my opinion, they didn't do anything that was like extra. I mean, like I said, there was nothing really. Like I said, they did mediocre at best. Now, although I have to say, Callie Spaney, I think that's how you say her last name, as Lily, did a fantastic job. I mean, she was my favorite part of this movie. I have to say, she was... her facial expressions and the way she delivered her lines were exceptional. I mean, there was one part where I can't remember what they were talking about, but she, like, the way her face moved while she was saying, like, talking to her mother was fantastic. I was like, this is the problem that I have a lot of the time with movies and TV shows is especially with a mother-daughter relationship, they have these people talk to their kids not in the way that people talk to their kids. Like, nobody talks to their kids like this, but this movie, I think that they did a good job of, or at least they did a good acting in conveying, like, this is how normal people talk to each other. They talk to each other, normally, and it's not all put on and like have this witty banter where it's like nobody thinks of that stuff while they're talking. Like, nobody. Like, I'm sorry, I've never heard anybody talk about how they talk to their kids like this. Kind of like the original film, this movie sets out to explore female femininity and sexuality as a young girl becoming a woman. And I think that this movie does a better job in the sense that because these are actually girls that look like girls, unlike the first film where they were like 20-somethings playing teenagers, and I thought that that's a little ridiculous, even though I love all four of those women, and they're all still so hot. If you go and look them all up, they're all still so hot. Anyways, but I have to say I didn't like the fairy dusty pixiness of their magic. I mean, like, when they're all like and then they got like makeup on. I'm all like, what is that nonsense? I'm like, come on. I'm like, and like they make the little star on her forehead, and I'm all like, what is going on here? This is ridiculous. And I did feel that when they did use their magic, it was very much like a CW TV show. And it like Charmed, it wasn't, it was okay, but I mean, it wasn't, they should have spent a tiny bit more money on the magic portion of the program, if you get what I'm saying. So it's really jarring in that contrast to this, how woke Zoe Lester-Jones attempts to make The Craft Legacy, this movie. The script is packed full of buzzwords dealing with things such as consent, gender identity, and toxic masculinity. But when offered an opportunity to actually do something beyond offering lip service to these ideas, the film just takes the easy way out. And a conversation of male bisexuality ends up being completely glossed over and used as the weakness needed for the film's villain to make his big plan. And speaking of the big baddie, the twist in The Craft Legacy is not only painfully obvious from the beginning, but also pretty cringeworthy, especially in the film that's gone out of its way to be so feminist in its leaning. Another obvious twist is the very loose way The Craft Legacy connects back to The Craft. I mean, I saw that coming from a mile away when Nancy showed up at the end as her mom. As soon as she found the adoption papers and she was all like, I'm adopted, who's my mother? And then the Helen, the mom, was all like, I told your mother I was under my care, and I told her I would never tell her who you were. And I'm all like, it's Nancy. It has to be Nancy. First off, they showed a picture of her in the trailer. And second off, I'm like, she was in the insane asylum at the end. So, I mean, under her care, come on. There's only one person it could be. So, I mean, like, when they revealed it at the end, I was all like, well, I saw that coming as soon as she found the adoption papers. So this was a story arc that sets up a whole new set of questions about the years between the first film's release and the story being told here. I mean, I have so many questions. Who's the father? Was Nancy banging an orderly? Or, what's going on there? What's going on there? Was David Duchovny the father? So many questions. Yeah, it's so many. And how did Helen get to adopt this child? That's not how adoption works. I'm sorry. But you don't just get to pick and choose. At least I don't think so. Anyways, so in conclusion, The Craft Legacy is a film that is muddled in its purpose. I mean, it never really seems to settle on what kind of film it wants to be. I mean, feeling at times, like, does it want to be a reboot? Does it want to be a sequel or something else entirely? I mean, it never sets that up in this entire movie. It also struggles to be fresh in any sense of the word, mostly offering only, like I said, lip service from the diversity and progressive subjects it sets out to examine, with the final product coming across as flat and phony. I mean, a story that doesn't no favors to or honors the original film in any way, shape, or form, or in any meaningful way. I mean, in my opinion, this movie is just a complete bonkers. I mean, like I said, Lily, not Lily, the girl that plays Lily, her name is, hold on, I wrote it down in my notes. Shoot. Callie Spanny. I think Spanny is how you say her last name. Fantastic. She was my favorite part of the whole movie. I hope she gets more work from this. And I think there will be a sequel. I wouldn't bring back Zoe Lister-Jones. I think she's not that great. I mean, the directing in this movie was like so one-dimensional. You could tell this was her first film. I mean, it was no good, the directing wise. I mean, it was very, very mediocre at best. But yeah, so that is my review for The Craft Legacy. Tell me, what did you guys think about this movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What was your favorite part? What was your least favorite part? How did you feel about the twists at the end and everything? Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I will see you guys on the next movie review. You guys have a good day. Bye.